everybody. April 5th, 2012. I'm sitting here trying to relax, having a little glass of vino. So upset about the two different branches I went to today, the bank I bank with. I tried to cash some of my son's savings bonds, and it just got hassled at both branches. I mean, like I'm trying to do something. I was treated like a parent who's just trying to cash them so I can just go blast the money and, it's my son's future. That's how I felt like I was being treated. I cashed some bonds like 3 months ago and didn't really have any problem. She got on the phone, asked some questions. I filled out the back saying my son's of insufficient understanding. He's 9 years old and I'm his parent who he resides with, blah, blah, blah. This little thing I had to write on the back of it. And, on the front, let me explain this real quick. Here's a savings bond here, and this is a cool site. I'll link it below, savingsbondadvisor.com. If you have some savings bonds and you're wondering what they're worth, you just plug in what the value of the bond from $10 to $10,000 here, and what type. Mine are all EE, and the month and the year. And here, for an example, we'll just throw in a $100 bond, EE from January, we'll say 2009, 3-year-old bond. So it's now a whopping $51.92. This would have been paid $50 for this $100 bond in January 09, and at 1.3% interest, which is why I'm cashing these in. 1.3% interest. I mean, come on. I was trying to tell my dad, I want to do this 3 years ago. I said, man, these bonds are not earning anything. Even the government says inflation is 3+%. And calculated according to John Williams, the way they did in 1980, it's 10%. But they keep fudging, manipulating the numbers so that it comes out with a lower number. That's why Social Security recipients didn't get a raise for the last 2-3 years. They finally got one. But there's no inflation, according to Mr. Bernanke and the Federal Reserve, so they didn't need a raise. So anyway, this is strictly about bonds. In case you have any questions. So what I encountered was they're in my son's name, and some of them say, or my name at the bottom, I'm the beneficiary, or POD, my name, paid on death. So I can cash them upon the death of the person they're made out to, which is my son. So the bank told me today, you cannot cash these POD. Your son's not deceased. You can't cash these bonds. And I said, well, the other branch cashed them. Well, they must overlook something. Okay. So she says you can only cash these ones where it says or. That means you're the co-owner. And the law is that the co-owner can cash them even without the owner knowing about it. Either the owner, which is the 2, or down below where it says or, Joe Blow or John Doe, whatever you want to say. He can cash them. Joe Blow and Jane Doe up here, she doesn't know about it. But in this case, I said, all right, I'll cash the 3 because I want to get a little silver for my son tomorrow. So she says, fill out the back, put your Social Security number. Whoa, wait a minute. This is not my money. I don't want my Social Security number attached to these bonds. What are you talking about? And this is a woman who's, I think, worked there quite a while. She usually helps the other one that I go in there. She's like the expert in the daytime. She went and asked the banker, and he says, yeah, POD, he can't cash those. They're only payable to him upon the death of the person. So, okay. So getting back to the Social Security number, I just shook my head and said, well, I'm going to go back to the other branch, because she said, yeah, the person who redeems these is the person who pays the tax on the interest. Where in my example here, it'd be a big $1.92 tax. But that's not the point. I don't want to pay a dime to the government of interest income that's not mine. That's my son's interest income, and he can pay. But, there's like I don't know exactly what it is, 600, 900, certain amount. If you don't make over that, you don't pay anything. So to me, there's no taxes due to the government on these bonds. But I'm being treated at the bank like I'm trying to cheat the government or I'm trying to cheat something. So I left. And after work, I went to another branch, which is in a grocery store. And I walked in there, and there's a guy in there I've been talking to. I'm talking about silver and stuff like that. And he says, oh, well, yeah, I can take care of these. I forget, some banker is here that comes once every 2 weeks. And she's the expert, so... So he also had to make a phone call. He got on the phone. He was calling. All right, we need a birth certificate. We need your social security number. I was like, I was just in here and cashed these, and you guys didn't ask for this documentation. And she was on the phone, 3 months ago, and there's no problem. So anyway, I said, all right, I guess I can't do this today. I'll just have to cash these in a few days or whatever. So the thing is that he told me that I had to put my social security number on the back of them again. And I was thinking, all right, come on, friend, think about this. Logically, think about this. These are my son's bonds. I'm cashing them on behalf of him. I'm not cashing them in my name. I can legally sign his name for him. He's basically cashing them. It's his money he's cashing. He pays the tax on the interest on them. Not me. It's not mine. He just was going by what his boss was telling him. He says, well, I'll call again for you. I mean, I didn't want to argue with them. I'm friendly with the guy. It's just, they're wrong. I think the big thing is most parents don't do this. Because I also sent a message to some financial professional on the internet and asked him, can I cash these bonds the end of last year that have POD with my name, payable upon death? He says, yeah, as long as your son's a minor. If he's an adult, I can't cash him. He has to cash him. He's the adult. But you're signing for your son. Doesn't matter if you're the POD or not. You're signing on his behalf. And then at the bottom he says, I hope that this is going to be used for him. I don't understand why you're cashing these or something. I'm like, that's none of your freaking business, man. But, all right, granted, I'm sure there's plenty of people who cash them and use them for themselves and steal their kids' money. I understand that. But that's not the case here. I mean, I just hate the way I'm being treated all the way around. From the dude on the internet to the branches. It's ridiculous. And I'm trying to do my son a favor, and I'm getting made feel like I'm doing something wrong. And it's, I even asked him, the guy at the bank, I said, even the government says inflation's 3%. He says, yeah, more than that. I'm like, okay, dude, these are paying 1% interest. I mean, you're a loser if you're holding on to these bonds paying 1% interest when the government says inflation's 3%. Figured in the 1980, the way that they figured it in 1980, it's like a 10%, according to John Williams. Anyway, I think I've gone on long enough. The bankers just don't know the law, and I found this here, a question answer thing on the internet, and the answer is from the Savings Bond Guru, but I don't know how legitimate this is or whatever. It's All Experts is this website, allexperts.com. But he says children have a $900 exemption from taxes on ordinary income for a given calendar year. So if you fill out the tax return for each child, and if the amount of interest income is less than $900, your children will owe no taxes. I mean, this was a question. Basically what I'm trying to do was the question. Who pays the taxes on these? But they're making me feel like I'm trying to get over on something. Oh no, you got to pay the taxes for your child. No, I'm not paying the government anything. It's not my money. It's not my interest income. And the banks need to learn what the heck the law is on cash and treasury bonds. So, whatever. I mean, the bond is supposed to be some big, safe, secure investment. I mean, that's what it says on their site, on the Treasury Direct. I got to read you this real quick. Okay, here it is. U.S. Treasury securities are a great way to invest and save for the future. A great way. One of my bonds is paying 0.7%. So it's, less than 0.75% interest. I don't consider that a great way to save for the future. This is just ridiculous.